Hey everyone out there, I'm hoopsmiles, and in this video today I'm going to show you how to make hoops, also referred to as hula hoops. So as you can see, I'm sitting in this lovely colorful pile of hoops right here. And speaking of colors, there are so many different types of hoops that you can make, you know, all the different color combinations. So please keep watching this video to learn how to make your own hoops at home. Now here's a look at the supplies that you will need to make hoops. You will need PVC pipe, a corresponding coupling to fit that PVC pipe, a PVC pipe cutter or a saw, a hairdryer or a paint dryer to heat up the PVC pipe, scissors, along with some colorful gaffer tape or electrical tape. Now, in terms of the right PVC piping that you want to get, before you even go out and look at PVC piping, you do want to ask yourself, why are you making these hoops in the first place, and who are you making them for? Because based on those answers is the recommendations that I would give you. Okay, because there's not one type of PVC pipe that I would recommend for everybody. So if you are a beginner hooper out there and you're an adult, then I recommend that you get a 3/4 inch piping that is 100 psi to 160 psi in thickness. Basically, that psi rating right there is just the inner thickness of the tube. Now, if you want to do more exercising, then I would go for that thicker tube at 160 psi. If you want to learn more hula hoop tricks, you know, and become a hoop master, then maybe start at the 100 psi. Now, for the intermediate to advanced hoopers out there, also for young children that these hoops are going to be for, then I would recommend a 1/2 inch size PVC pipe that's at a 125 psi rating. Basically, that piping is going to be a little bit thinner. It's going to feel much lighter when you're spinning it on your body. Also, spinning the hoop on your hands and your feet and possibly your neck, you know, I would say it might feel much more comfortable and maybe even easier using the 1/2 inch size tubing. And usually when you buy this PVC pipe, if you go to the store, it looks like this black piping right here. And usually it comes in rolls of 100 feet. And typically with a 100-foot roll, you know, you might actually be able to make about 10 hoops, you know, give or take a few. And where you can find this PVC pipe, if you just go to, you know, a hardware store, you know, they're probably going to sell this, especially at like the big stores like Home Depot or Lowe's. Also, you want to make sure that you get the corresponding coupling to fit your tubing, whether you get the 1/2 inch, the one right here, or the 3/4 inch. So you want to make sure that you get the little plastic fitting, because this thing right here is going to be the thing that connects and holds your hoops together. Now, when it comes to the size of hoop that you should make, you know, that really depends on what you're doing. But, you know, if you're a beginner out there and you just want to spin that hoop around your waist, then I recommend making a hoop that comes up between your belly button and your chest in diameter. So if you put that hoop on the ground, you know, somewhere in that range, I would say is a nice beginner hoop size. Now, for the people out there that want to spin the hoop on their hand like this, then I recommend that you make a smaller hoop size. But regardless, in my opinion, the best hoop out there is going to be the hoop that you use the most. So especially if you have your 100-foot roll of PVC piping right here, you can just go to town and make a bunch of different hoop sizes and see what you like best. So once you've removed all the excess wrapping and the tape from your PVC pipe roll, you know, it should start to unravel a little bit. But to, you know, get the hoop size that you want, one way to do that is you can take one of the ends of the piping like so, and then you kind of put it together to make a circle like this with the rest of the piping. Now, if you want that circle to be smaller, you basically just move it to be smaller. Or if you want to expand it and make a really big hoop, you can expand it to make that circle bigger. Now, for those of you that want to make a more specific hoop size, you can also use measuring tape. Pretty much if you take your measuring tape like so, and you measure the diameter of your hoop, Once you have the diameter size that you are looking for on the side that you're going to make your cut, which is this side right here, you can just go ahead and put a marking right there that just signifies that's where you should cut your hoop. Now, another technique out there to get the size of hoop that you want is you can go ahead and use another hoop as a guide. So if you already own a hoop and you're like, I want a similar size hoop as that one, or you're borrowing a friend's hoop, basically you can just take this hoop and just sort of match it up to the roll of PVC pipe that you have for making hoops, and you can just use this hoop as a guide to help you kind of find where you want to make that cut to make your new hoop. So now it's time to go ahead and bust out your PVC pipe cutters or your saw, because we are going to do some pipe cutting. Now, before you start making your cuts to your hoop, what I would do is examine the roll of PVC pipe that you have, because here's the thing is sometimes these PVC pipe rolls, if you actually look at the end piece is sometimes pretty straight and it's not as curved as the rest of the roll. So to avoid an oblong shaped hoop, this oval shaped hoop, what you can do is you can just go ahead and cut off that end piece to make sure you don't get that weirdly shaped hoop. Now, once you've measured the hoop size that you want to use, you can just go ahead and take a marker and just mark it where you're basically going to make that cut. And then you take your PVC pipe cutters or your saw, and then that's where you're going to cut the hoop, is right where that mark is. And voila, there is the cut piece. Now, if you want the easiest and cleanest cut, then I do recommend that you use PVC pipe cutters. Using a saw, I feel like you can make more of a mess. Also, it's going to be a much more jagged cut. So for ease and convenience, then I recommend going the PVC pipe cutter route. Now, something I do recommend doing after you cut your PVC pipe is go ahead and take a damp paper towel, and I actually recommend wiping off the tubing, because sometimes when you buy this tubing, it can get really, really dirty. So I actually recommend just going ahead and wiping off that tubing before the next step. So now we have moved on to the next step in the video, which involves joining the two sides of the PVC pipe together using this coupling. And you want to make sure that you have the right size coupling that fits your hoop. Right now, the piping that I am using right now is a 1/2 inch piping, so I'm going to use the corresponding 1/2 inch coupling. So if you have 3/4 inch piping, then you're going to want to use a 3/4 inch coupling. So the key here is you want to actually put the coupling in each end of the PVC pipe to join it together. But if I just go ahead and try to push it in that hole as hard as I can, this coupling does not fit in there very well. Well, here's the key is, instead of doing that, before you do that, you want to actually heat up each end first, because when you heat up the plastic, it actually becomes more workable and it makes it much easier to slide this coupling in. So as you can see, I got this paint dryer right here. This is what I'm going to use to heat up the ends to get that coupling in there. Now this paint dryer can get really, really, really hot. So I have to be careful, because if I get it too close to the end, then I can actually melt the tubing and then it becomes deformed. And you don't want to do that. Okay, you want to just heat it up enough so that that coupling becomes more workable to slide on in. Also, before I turn on my dryer, I want to make sure that I'm holding the hoop far away from the end so that I don't burn my hand. So now I'm ready to go ahead and turn on my dryer and heat up my PVC pipe. Now when heating up that PVC pipe, I don't want to get too close, because like I said earlier, it's possible you can melt the plastic, but I want to get close enough so that that PVC pipe gets hot enough too. Also, the type of device that you use will dictate how close you can get to the piping without melting it, because if you're gonna, let's say, use a hair dryer, it's probably not gonna get as hot as this paint dryer right here, so you might be able to get a little bit closer. So it just depends on the device that you're using. Okay, so I just got done heating up this side of the piping, so I'm gonna go ahead and shove this coupling straight in there because it's nice and easy to push that in since I heated it up. Now you really only wanna push it about halfway in. Now here's an up-close look of what the coupling looks like inside the tube. So now I just heated up the other side of the PVC pipe. So I'm going to put that other side of the coupling inside there and join them together. Just like that. And here we go. Here is the bare tube of the hoop. Now in some cases, if you don't want to actually decorate your hoop with colorful tape, you might actually be done at this point. It kind of just depends on what you want to do next. Now, when you join the PVC pipe together, if in the process of heating it up, you melted it a little bit and it's kind of deformed, and if you notice in this close-up, there's some ridges that are left over. If you end up having those ridges, you can actually just take some sandpaper and sand those down if you want to. Okay, so now we reached a fun part in the video, decorating your hoops. Now when it comes to decorating your hoops, you can have a lot of fun with it. You can do different color schemes. You can get really creative, use different types of tape, including different types of metallic tape. Now, believe it or not, some of those multi-tape patterns right there can actually be really challenging to make. And if you're a beginner hoop maker, then I would recommend that you just try making a hoop with just one layer of tape first. Now, in terms of the tape, I do recommend that you use either gaffer tape or electrical tape for your first hoop, primarily because those tapes tend to be a little bit more bendable, a little bit more flexible, and easy to work with. Now, if I had to choose between using gaffer tape and electrical tape, I'd actually go with the gaff tape just because I think it looks better and it can also add some extra grip to your hoop, which in some cases can make hooping easier. Now, when it comes to selecting the size of your tape, if you're going to be using 3/4 inch PVC piping, then I do recommend using tape that is no more than 1 inch in width. Because if you're using tape that is super, super wide, it can actually make the wrapping process more challenging. And in the end, the hoop may not look as good too. Now, if you're going to be using the 1/2 inch size PVC piping, then I recommend even going smaller and using tape that is a 3/4 inches in width or less. Now, before decorating your hoop, this next step is optional. If you want to go ahead and strengthen that connection where that coupling is, where both of the ends of your PVC pipe come together right there, you can go ahead and take a roll of black duct tape and just take some duct tape and just put it right over the middle of that joint right there. Now you can put 1 or 2 layers of duct tape, depending on what you want to do there. And this will just add some extra support and some strength where the 2 pieces of PVC pipe come together. All right, so I am now ready to wrap my hoop here. I got this fluorescent green gaffer tape that's a 1/2 inch in width. And I'm just gonna start out by putting the tape sort of at a diagonal position right here. And then I'm just gonna start moving that gaffer tape around the hoop. And I'm leaving some gaps in between the tape to make those stripes. Now those gaps, you can make those bigger or smaller since you're really only gonna be using 1 tape for your first hoop. I mean, you can try multiple tapes, but like I said, once you get up to some of those multi-tape schemes, it can actually get kind of challenging to wrap the hoop, so I would recommend only just using the 1 tape at first. I'm basically just keeping this gaffer tape close to the PVC piping, as you can see, pretty much as close as I can get, because the closer it is, the easier it is to wrap. Whereas if that tape is really far away, so I'm just gonna purposely pull that tape away like this, it's, in my opinion, a little bit more challenging to wrap that hoop, and it can actually take some more time. So I wouldn't recommend keeping the tape further away from the hoop. So I'm gonna bring it back in so it's close again. So yep, so you're just kind of going diagonal. You're just letting the tape kind of flow as you're moving it, you know, diagonal around this PVC pipe. And I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of this hoop right here, just so you can see what it looks like when you get your full hoop made. Now, when you get to the end here and you're about to do, you know, your last wrapping with the tape, you can manipulate the tape so that it matches where you started, so that you kind of get like an even stripe right there. And then when you're done, you can just go ahead, take your scissors, and then you can cut off that tape right there, and then push that tape on your hoop, and there you go. There is a hoop, and it's wrapped. Now, if you have any questions about making your hoops, please put those in the comments section of this video. Now, I know that there are, you know, other taping patterns you can do, you know, multi-tape patterns, different color schemes. You know, if you want to learn more about my techniques, you know, and how to make more of those advanced hoops, please put that in the comments section as well. You know, make a request for that. As for now, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. Thank you everyone out there so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy your hoops. Until next time, enjoy.